Hey, Brett. Okay, what the fuck? Anyway, welcome back, Shane.
Yeah, I am back.
We're back and we're talking two recent movies.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2 and Wicked.
Yeah.
That I think we both have pretty good opinions on, I think.
Yeah.
To some issues with both, I think,
I'll be interested to hear your issues with both.
Yeah, we haven't talked Wicked at all, and we
At
briefly
all.
talked Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
So how do we want to kick this one off? Do we want to talk Gladiator 2 first?
Do we want to talk about the one we liked better or the one we liked less?
Let's go like to less.
Okay, so Gladiator
2.
Never, ever expected that to be the order of which I liked less and then more.
I was so excited for Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
Like deeply and kind of profoundly excited. Like some of the early hype from it, from like the early screens, were that it was really good.
Yeah.
And I had just rewatched Gladiator and was like, okay, this might be one of the best movies ever. Like,
Yeah.
Gladiator's so good.
Yeah.
And then this one's like fine. It's like a pretty good sword and sandal movie.
It is fine.
Yeah. It looks varying to really good to really bad is one of my issues. Like there's some of the CGI shots where you're like, ooh. And I don't like how Rome looks.
Interesting. Okay.
Some of the shots like outside the Colosseum don't have this like grandeur that the first one did.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I can't explain it. Maybe if I rewatched it again,
Yeah.
I would feel this. But there's like certain scenes where you're just like, wow, and this is probably more realistic. But do I
Interesting.
care about realism when there are sharks swimming in the Colosseum?
Interesting.
I don't know.
Were there not sharks swimming in the Colosseum?
That's not a real thing, no.
Oh.
But
They did fill it with water, though.
they did
was
that.
A real
That
thing.
is a real thing. People are like, it would have been alligators, and I'm like, but sharks are cooler.
But sharks are cooler.
Look, movie logic. I don't give a shit about realism.
Yeah.
like whatever.
I want to hear from an expert as to whether or not that's accurate.
That's why I bring that up, because experts are like, that's not real. They wouldn't. And you're like, okay, guys, but also they found a way to flood a Colosseum.
Yeah.
Maybe there were sharks. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not an actual good play. The shark scene is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think the actual complaints are like, some of the action scenes were like fine. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like I felt like, I don't know. I feel like this movie is like, we're gonna just pretend like I didn't elbow that. I feel like this movie is like 30 minutes longer than it needed to be.
Agreed.
I feel like it's pretty slow a lot of the time.
Agreed.
So I went with my dad on Thanksgiving Day because our Thanksgiving plans got really weird this year. And so I went with my dad on Thanksgiving Day. And that motherfucker fell asleep like 4 times. I literally had to.
Wow.
Now he's a sleepy fella.
Uh-huh.
He'll fall asleep during an earthquake.
Yeah.
But I had to like bump him like 3 separate times. Like honestly, I would have just let him sleep, but he was doing one of these.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
I can't let him sleep like that.
No,
He's gonna
that
hurt his
destroy
neck.
his neck. Yeah.
And so I had to wake him up like 3 separate times.
Yeah.
And my dad loves a good action.
Yeah.
movie.
One of my favorite
Loves
interactions.
Denzel.
One of my favorite. This is very funny. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite interaction I've ever had with your dad is when I walked in and they were watching. It was when I was in high school. We were hanging out at your house, your parents' house, and I walked in and they were watching The Magnificent Seven with Denzel, and I was like, "Oh, this is a good one." And your dad went, "It's a really good one." And I was like, "Yeah, I expected that."
Yeah, that's a Doug classic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's got Denzel in it, I feel like that's such a dad.
Oh, Denzel's the dad actor.
Yeah.
Like, talk about dad cinema. If Denzel's in it, automatically dad cinema. Doesn't matter what the movie is.
Malcolm X.
Still dad cinema.
Depending on the dad, I think.
Okay, depending on the dad a little bit, but purely it's in discussion because Denzel's in it.
Fair.
That's my
Part of the discussion.
That's my hard stance, is that if Denzel is in it, it is at the very least in the
I'm gonna
discussion.
find one that it doesn't fit. I can't think of one off top.
I mean, maybe like the tragedy of Macbeth. Like that's not really
Ooh,
dad's.
yeah.
I haven't seen that, but it doesn't strike me as like a movie dads are like, have you seen the tragedy of Macbeth?
No,
Like,
that is definitely up there. That is that's. Don't get me wrong. I love that movie. That will be a movie we discuss on the podcast.
Yeah.
Both Macbeth and the tragedy of Macbeth, specifically the Michael Fassbender Macbeth.
Yeah.
Because that'll be
two very different versions of that movie.
Incredibly different in the best way. And they're both really good. Like, they're both very good. Anyway, that is probably the least dad.
Yeah, it's got to be it.
There might be another one. We'll find it. We'll find it. We'll do a dad cinema episode.
Yeah, I think it's just Gladiator 2. I think a lot of my issues come down to the fact that it like makes the first one kind of irrelevant, at least in terms of a plot progression thing. Like
super how much they're like, well, it didn't work.
And you're like, why? No explanation. All the same people are still in power. It just didn't get explained.
Except for these fucking twins.
Except for these emperor guys where you're like, wait, how did they usurp this and stop? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's very strange.
It's very much like, don't worry about that. Anyways.
I mean, legitimately, that is the hand waving they do.
If it wasn't also obsessed with Gladiator 1, it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah,
it's the fact that it's also obsessed with Gladiator 1.
I mean, to the point that there's a scene where he like unearths the fucking armor and the sword, and you're like,
I couldn't believe how tied to the first one this one was. I really thought it was just going to be like, we're doing it again, guys. Gladiators are back in the arena.
No, it's like very much a sequel.
Yeah, but like it's in that is the thing that frustrates me is like it is very much a sequel while also completely erasing everything that happened in the first.
Oh yeah.
That is so weird.
And it's like essentially the same movie. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like it's the same movie that just happens a little different. Like.
Very much so.
Like, there are things about this movie that I really dig. Like I said, some of the shots, like the shot where they're like, he will get one gladiator to defend her, and you see him like running up. It's like,
good.
It's really interesting staging, really cool, like grandness to it. But like, for the most part, it's just fine.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Denzel in this movie?
Where are you headed with this?
I think it's the most fun he's ever had making a movie.
Because I was afraid the thing was the conversation was going to be like, he's not doing an accent. Who gives a shit?
Oh, I don't give a shit about that.
Could not fucking care less.
Yeah.
And I love that choice. He rules.
There are certain actors that just can't. Did you ever see Valkyrie with Tom Cruise?
No. But yeah,
he doesn't do he does an accent at the beginning where he's speaking German, and then they fade it into English, a la
Hunt for
Red October, which does it way better. Don't get me wrong, but there's certain acts where if Tom Cruise is doing an accent, inherently it's a little silly.
Yeah,
even though Tom Cruise is a great character actor, and so is Denzel, but they're so iconic, you gotta steer away.
And everybody's doing different accents anyway.
Does he do an accent in Macbeth?
No.
Exactly. It's like you just don't need it, dude. Like, I'm good.
Why? Like,
I'm good.
Why does it matter?
Yeah, no.
Like, everybody's doing different accents.
Who cares?
Nobody's speaking fucking ancient Roman. Whatever Roman?
Italian of some type, whatever.
Nobody's speaking in any sort of accuracy at all.
Yeah.
Who cares? It took literally the only thing that took me out because of the accent was remembering that everybody was talking about it. I just wish they didn't address it.
Yeah.
Because then, like, I was thinking about the fact that I was like, no, I like the fact that he's not doing an accent in the movie.
Yeah.
And I wish had they not talked about it, I wouldn't have. You know what I mean?
I know. It does. But that being said, is he overacting a little bit? Yes. Do I care because he's Denzel Washington?
Never literally didn't even think he was overacting.
And that's the thing is, I don't care either. It's just he's giving the biggest performance.
It's a melodrama.
Oh yeah, completely.
It's a fucking Rome. It's a Greek tragedy in Rome.
He understands the mission more than anyone else in this movie. Yeah. Like, there's been a lot of discussion about whether Paul Mescal has the movie star juice to carry a role like this. Because look. When this movie came out, there were a lot of people, or when Gladiator came out, there were a lot of people who were like, why is Russell Crowe getting Oscar buzz for this? Because it's a really hard job to play that type of role, guys. Yeah. Like, incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Does Paul Mescal have the juice, the movie star juice? Because he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Does he have the movie star juice for this kind of role?
I don't think it's... This performance I don't think is a him question.
The script does not help him in that they're like, what can I give you to satisfy this rage? And most of the time he's just smiling and being a chill dude. And you're like, well,
I think I don't like think it's him having or not having the movie star juice. I think it's the writing is like not. It's like they're doing it again, but also he's just different. Like the character's just different.
Yeah, well,
like,
the character's definitely different. I just like some of the speeches he gives are like varying degrees of great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Russell Crowe just kind of sold all that shit, but the script is again way better for Gladiator 1.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's like
It's tough. It's a tough one.
because if he had just done the same thing that Russell Crowe did, he would just be doing the same thing that
Exactly.
Russell Crowe did.
Exactly.
And then that would be the issue.
Well, my favorite part about his performance is the physicality.
Yeah.
Like the fight where they're having in like the party, that fight. There's this like bit where he's like throwing the guy on the ground. And he has a moment, and so he's like getting. You very rarely see somebody in a movie like you're like, oh, he's thinking. Like that's really he's taking a moment to like think and like ground himself by like because that's what we do when we're stressed or we're thinking about. We always touch something, we fold.
Yeah.
I liked how he like carried his body. Like I liked how he performed these fights.
Yeah.
He really sells all of that stuff.
100%.
That's to me the best part of his performance. The most captivating part is his physicality he brings to it. But yeah, the script is constantly like you're just this rage-filled monster, and he's like mostly pretty chill and quiet.
Right.
Like it's a little funny.
Yeah.
Which that happens from time to time. There are other movies that have that same kind of like thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Also, why does every single main character die by arrow in front of
Paul Mescal.
Paul Mescal? Like
Yeah.
every single time.
I know. His wife, his mom,
Yeah.
everyone. But Pedro.
Pedro, like every single important character to him dies by arrow.
Which, by the way, Pedro Pascal had so much less to do in this movie than I thought he was gonna.
Same.
Like I was, because like when we got to the midpoint and I realized they were fighting, I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting choice having this be here.
When he was cast, was he Pedro Pascal? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, that's
was
a great
he
question.
That level of
Great
star
question. I
when
can't
he got
remember.
Because I don't think he was.
Definitely not to the degree that he is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now he's arguably the biggest dude working, kind
Yeah.
of like in certain spheres.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
So
I can't remember exactly the
that might have to
timeline.
do more with more. You know, like I know they worked on this a while ago. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it wasn't like they worked on this last summer and it came out now.
Yeah.
Like no, like he got cast in this a while ago.
Yeah.
Started working on it a while ago.
And there was also a bunch of casting changes. Like I don't think Paul Mescal was the original guy.
Oh really?
I think it was somebody else. I think there was
I have no memory of this.
or something like that. It was a couple of actors were in it and then couldn't because of whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they dropped out and other guys came in, which I don't know. I can't
Yeah.
remember. Tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gladiator 2, favorite moments, favorite fights. I'm really fond of the fact that he bit a monkey.
That scene was fucked.
This seems crazy.
That scene was fucked.
Yeah.
I was not that I appreciated was like the brutality of a lot of it. Like I appreciated that. It was hard to watch.
Oh yeah.
That scene. Yeah. And then just Denzel.
Then just Denzel. When he cuts Denzel's arm off, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yes.
In a way that I really dug. Like,
Yeah.
Although, like, do they ever explain why was Denzel a gladiator? Is that part of the lore?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Because then I was like, how's he fighting so well? But
Yeah.
That fight I think is really quite good.
Or he was like a slave.
Yeah,
in,
something like
in,
that.
Marcus Aurelius's army.
Yeah. It's something like that.
Either
But like,
he was either a gladiator or a slave in his army.
I'm a big fan of when weapons break in these kinds of movies because it
Yeah.
happens so rarely, but
Yeah.
like that's so tactile and cool and like forces a change in tempo.
Yeah.
Really interesting. So that when the sword broke in that fight, I was like, oh hell yes, we're in for it.
Yeah.
The rhino fight is cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Throwing the dust up to like blind it.
Good
and
shit.
It's good. It's really creative shit.
Yeah. The fact that they finally fucking we had Gladiator last time that didn't have any aquatic battles, and they did an aquatic battle.
Yeah.
Now the aquatic battle wasn't great.
No, it's fine. Like,
But, like,
it's short
they
and
did it.
yeah. He takes the arrow and yeah, it's fun. It's fun. That's how I would describe this movie. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Not like my favorite thing in the world.
I feel like I just feel like I would have liked it better if it was like 30 minutes shorter.
I agree with that. If you had just tempoed this up a little bit
Yeah.
and took out like a full subplot, like you'd be good.
Either A, make it significantly shorter.
Yeah.
Or B, not make it a direct sequel to the first Gladiator.
Just do something different.
Just do something a little different. Like, it could have been in Rome. It could, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
put it
Again,
50 years before the first one, 50 years after, whatever.
That was what I was saying, is like, just do a prequel. Like, just do a prequel where it has nothing. It's not about some general. It's literally just about a gladiator. Like that I'm really interested in.
You could have done 16 different things. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
the fact that it is so directly tied, and like also like
in like shoehorns in shit that was not part of the first one.
Yeah,
like him being Maximus's son.
Yeah,
like nothing to do with the first movie.
Like they like allude to the fact that they had a relationship.
Yeah, but
it's not like it.
No, there's a basis for it, but I feel like that changes a lot of Gladiator in a way that I'm
agree.
like, I don't think a sequel should do that.
Like, did he know he was his dad? I don't know.
And I don't think he did. You know, it's
Right.
just that is confusing to me.
If he did, it makes him suck.
Yeah,
more
yeah.
In a way that are like, no, like he's supposed to be like pretty impeachably.
Yes, like that's kind of the point of Maximus.
Again, yeah, like we're dealing in melodrama here. We're dealing in Greek tragedy. So it's like they are archetypical good guy character. Like he doesn't have to have some sordid affair.
Yeah.
Like, because like then why? I don't know. Weird.
I sneezed.
Don't ever do that again in my presence.
Sorry, let me leave the room.
So yeah, like overall, like I don't know, I liked it. I feel like out of the theater, I liked it more than I do now.
That happened to me too, where I was like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, the whole like, there's certain things that really bought, like the weird secret marble door pusher button that opens the secret passage is like really silly to me.
I have no memory of that.
It's when she's like sneaking around, she'll go and then a secret door opens and I'm like, that is so silly.
Yeah, I thought that was leading to something.
No, it's just as a tunnel. Yeah. Like there's shit like that in this movie where I was just like, I didn't
there's
need
also
this.
some things that were like weirdly funny. Like that's something that you and I talked about.
Yeah.
Where I was like, why was that what?
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been played for laughs.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't meant to, but it got like audible laughs in the theater where I was like, why did that get a laugh?
But see, then the other side of it is there's moments where he's like, wood or steel, a point is still a point. And you're like, that's fucking awesome. Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah, that's a great bar, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, using the gladiator, wooden sword as a fucking sword.
It's
dope.
Super awesome. Like, it's kind of a mixed bag in that way, but like, it's crazy how well it's doing. From a box office standpoint, like, look, I knew it would.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is surprised, but it is shocking to see, like, I mean, this came out the same day as Wicked.
Yeah.
I went opening night to this one, or Friday night or something, and fucking, I haven't seen a movie theater that hopping in so long.
Fascinating.
That's a big part of why I wanted to talk about both of these together.
Yeah.
Is I think the box office conversation is really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, why these two?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It's just interesting. I think I'd mentioned it. This is the biggest Thanksgiving week with Moana added, and this is so the week we're talking about is the week after these came out, with Moana to the biggest Thanksgiving weekend week, whatever metric of all time.
Yeah, bars.
That's nuts.
Hey, good,
fantastic. I was so excited about that. It's just such a fascinating combination of movies.
Yeah,
for that to happen. Like, who would have thought Gladiator 2 would be part of that mix?
Yeah.
I mean, 5 years ago, would you have ever thought we would get a sequel to Gladiator?
No. But like, I think there's like some like counter programming logic to that where like Gladiator 2, hyper masculine R movie and Wicked is a PG, like very like young and very like feminine friendly, not to make it like gendered.
No, but the cultural conversation is going to make it that way.
It's a movie about two women characters,
yes.
like are the two lead, you know what I mean? Like, and so there is some like counter programming, like, and then the Moana 2, which I have honestly didn't even really fully realize was out.
Yeah, I've heard nothing, but it's fine.
Yeah,
I've heard nothing, but everyone describing it as like, this feels like a TV show that got turned into a movie, because that's what happened. There's like 10 writing credits on it because it was a TV show that they turned into a movie. And I love Moana.
Oh, same.
The first Moana movie is one
That's
of
why
my
I'm,
favorite Disney
like,
movies.
disappointed.
Exactly. And so I'm going to go see it because I like Disney movies and stuff. So I want to see it, but I've just kind of held off a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think that's fascinating. And anything else on Gladiator want to discuss?
No.
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 So Gladiator 2, mixed bag.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Wicked fucking rules.
Wicked's really good.
Okay. All right. Me and Megan have been talking about this a lot. I really didn't think I was gonna like this.
Yeah.
I really thought I was gonna be the one guy to be like, I don't know.
So did I. The lead up to it, Breck and I were like, we're not seeing this. We're not gonna go see Wicked. Who gives a shit?
The fucking marketing for this movie was garbage. So like it made it look bad.
Yeah.
And then I was not super excited for it. And then I saw like all these people posting
how
videos
good
and
it was.
Walking like not just okay, the other part of this is the OG Broadway Wicked fans are the worst.
Oh, are they?
They're like Rick and Morty fans.
Ooh,
for
rough.
musical theater. And I feel like musical theater has this every like 10 years. Whatever the most popular show on Broadway, which that's the only you went to New York when you were 12. That was the only thing you saw. So that your entire personality. It's
your entire perception of a whole thing.
It was Cats, and then it was Phantom, and then it was Rent, and then it was Wicked, and then it was I don't know what would be after that, but then it was
Hamilton.
Hamilton, thank you. And Wicked was just one of them.
Yeah.
Of a long line of it's the only musical you went and saw, and so it's the only musical you like, and so it's the only musical you think is good. And there are so many better musicals than Wicked.
Yes.
But also, this movie fucks.
Yeah. So like let's get a couple of the like negatives out of the way because I only really have
I've one.
I have two, and one of them I'm super not hard stance on. I'm just kind of like, and that one is going to be the directing in it is not as crazy and energetic as I think it could be.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Again, lowercase p problem. I do not have a hard like.
There are some moments. There's some shots where I was like, "Ooh, John,
yes.
Okay, John Woo."
But
John
Chu,
not John Woo. John Woo is a very different director.
But you watch like. It's just a movie that I don't even love, but it's because I don't love Romeo and Juliet.
Baz Luhrmann?
No.
West Side Story.
West Side Story.
Oh, yeah.
Where you watch Spielberg's West Side Story, and it's some of the best directing the best director has ever done. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
The camera work and the intensity of it. And this just doesn't quite have that sauce. You know what I mean?
It has flashes of it, but I agree.
Completely agree. And again, this is a very small problem because the movie is still emotionally very resonant and still has a lot of fun and well-timed jokes and like cinematic jokes.
Yep.
I think Meg, after she saw it, described it to me before I went. She was like, "Oh, the team understands that there's a difference between a play and a movie." Yeah. And I agree with that. We're not watching a play.
No.
There are moments where I can feel like, oh, they're paying homage to the fact that sometimes you're going to watch it from here, but they're not afraid to like make it a movie.
To put this into perspective, the team that made The Producers, I'll put it on Broadway.
Yeah.
The person who directed that show also directed the movie.
Okay.
And it has never been clearer to me that a person was a wonderful Broadway director and has never directed.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I actually quite like the movie because it's just the Broadway show in a movie.
Yeah.
And I think the Broadway show is great and fun and hilarious. Yeah. But there are some moments that was like, you should have cut that. It doesn't work for the theater or doesn't work on the big screen, but it works in a play.
Yeah.
It does not work on the big screen. You should have just cut that.
Yeah.
Or changed it or done something different. The fact that like John Chu clearly understands the stage musical, but also clearly understands like the movie, made this like fully work.
Yeah. Completely.
But like, I think also like, I appreciate that he didn't go balls to the wall and screw that and go too far and screw it up. I'd rather the emotionality and get all of that stuff perfect in the way that they did.
Yeah.
As opposed to like go too far. So like I agree with you. It is like it's a problem, but it is the smallest.
Yeah,
problem.
it does not affect the fact that I really, really like this movie.
What is your other problem?
I think you and I have the same one. It's kind of ugly.
It looks like fucking concrete.
It is so muted and so wildly flat.
Washed out.
Yes.
And, like,
there's no contrast. There's no shadows. Like, and it has flashes of it. It has a couple of moments where you're like, ooh, okay.
Specifically 30 seconds of one scene.
Which scene?
Popular.
Okay, I was gonna say
when it goes pink.
I was Popular is bathed in like practical lights and like really interesting shit going on there.
Like, oh my! Y'all do know where the saturation slider is. You do know where the vibrance
and like
slider
I think
is.
Defying Gravity, when she's like up in the sky, has more color and stuff, but it's also that's like so clearly the digital shot. You know what I mean?
But you could also bring the blacks down just a little bit and punch it up even more.
Completely agree. Completely agree. That is the other big problem with the whole movie. I'm like, why is every single shot backlit?
Yes.
And why does it look like it was shot in like raw footage and they just went, I think that's the look. And you're like,
it's seriously, it's like they applied like the most basic, like I can see what's happening on screen kind of LUT. You know, throw the raw footage on there and then throw a basic editing LUT. And then they were like,
that's
I
good.
think this looks great, guys. Like, you know, wipe my hands of this one. It's like, no.
And the most frustrating part of that is that The Wizard of Oz is one of the most colorful movies of all time.
Yep. And it's also like the easiest and fastest thing to fix in post.
Yeah.
It is quite like, don't get me wrong, like colorists work for a long time and they do very hard work to make movies look good.
Yeah.
I am not besmirching the work that is coloring, but at the same time, it could be expedited in a way that like all of the CG redoing that would take months.
Yes.
Millions of dollars and months, where redoing the color grade on the movie would be a fairly fast and cheap process.
Yeah.
I hope to God that there is, if bare minimum on the Blu-ray, there is a Technicolor edit. There is a, in the same way there's the black and chrome.
Yeah, Mad Max.
Give me a fucking Technicolor version of this movie and it will fucking pop.
And I here's my thing. I don't think that's gonna happen on the Blu-ray. There will be fan edits. There will be people out there who just make their own cut of it, and the amount of people who notice and care is more than I've ever seen for any movie. I do agree with that. People are like talking about it.
Yes.
And it just, it's like the justification was this. When they asked the team, they were like, well, it's this really grounded story emotionally, and they're like, oh, so we want it to look like real life. And I like hit pause and was like, the scene when she's like walking out, she's like, I'll stand with the weather, and on that like cliff edge, and I was like, that's not how grass looks in real life, guys. Like, this is not how real life looks.
No,
I don't understand why we've tricked ourselves. And look, the truth is it's cheaper to do it this way. You can save on post. You can save, because what they're doing is because they're lighting 360 and going. They're just like,
yeah, but like even then, some of this could just be fixed with like 3 sliders.
I know, but I guess I'm more talking about the lighting, how it's just like all backlit, and how it's all really like just flat and not contrasty. Like, they're not flying in negative fill to make it a little bit darker on one side.
And like, look, I think especially when you're dealing with large dance numbers and all kinds of stuff,
it's tough.
Hard to light for. Very fucking hard to light.
Yeah.
And give it shape and dimension in all the ways that you're talking.
But think about that scene from West Side Story where they come into the gymnasium and you're just like, holy shit.
I agree.
Yeah.
But so much of it is literally the color.
Yes.
Where it is not the issue was not on set.
No.
The issue is in post.
Well, that's the crazy part. Have you looked at the set photos?
Yes.
Dude, they're so vibrant. Like the train set where it's like actually green. You know what I mean?
Yes. Like it that is the part that like truly defies logic, defies
gravity. Yeah.
No, that defies logic to me. Where it's like, yes, I completely agree. Where a lot of it is lighting.
Yeah.
But man, if you just brought the black value, if you just did that alone,
I wouldn't notice hardly as much.
It would not be nearly as big of an issue as it is if you literally just took the black value and brought it down low.
Yeah.
Everything is so milky and gray And like there were times where Elphaba, the green witch, looked gray.
Yep.
Where I'm like, no, she's supposed to be green, but she doesn't look green.
Nope.
It's wild. Like, and I'm like, it is such a constant I said this to Megan. I was like, does every single colorist in Hollywood right now have the saturation on their monitor set to 200%? And so they think everything looks too colorful?
So they're like, "Ay, shit. Okay, bring that down a little bit."
Is it a workflow issue? Where is the issue? Because this feels really like common.
Well, and I'm just wondering if it's, just for an example to pull out of a hat, Netflix, Red One, the Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson movie. It's like, that's how that movie looks. And apparently that's the most streamed movie on Netflix of all time, which, by the way, that's impossible. That cannot be true.
I have heard exactly 3 things about that movie. And they've all been ads.
Yeah, no, but that's my point. And so I'm like wondering if like
who's watching that?
Studios are like, well, shit, we got to replicate the formula, and so they look at all the things that studios do to replicate the formula, and that's one of them. Is a couple of movies that looked like this did super great, and then the Marvel effect of it all, where like Marvel started the trend of really not, which is funny. They didn't. Their first couple movies looked great. You know what I mean? Like even the Incredible Hulk has
they were
color.
Shot on film.
Oh well, yeah,
because those were shot on film.
Yeah,
like
very
Iron
true.
Man and the Hulk. And I can't speak about the Hulk, but Thor and the first Captain America. All of those movies were shot on film.
Yeah, but you look at even like Thor 2. Thor 2 looks great.
That also may have been shot on film.
I
could be wrong.
I would not.
I'm actually 99% sure that movie was shot on film.
Yeah. Well, anyway, but my point being is like I wonder if that's what it is, where all these studios are trying to like replicate the things that do well, so they just go, okay, they look desaturated, throw that on there. They use this kind of thing, throw that on there. But you look at like the Batman, where it's like one of the best looking movies in 20 years.
Yeah.
Do that. It's not that fucking hard.
It's not that fucking hard.
Whatever. But okay, on to the good things about Wicked, because you and I think both really like this movie.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande.
Who knew she was this fucking funny?
Who knew she was this fucking funny, dude? Because like, look, I grew up on the Nickelodeon stuff, which is a whole bag to not want to get into currently. But like, I knew she could act or whatever.
Was it Disney?
It was Nick. It was Nickelodeon.
Really?
Yeah, she was Nickelodeon kid. She was a Broadway kid before that, and then she was a Nickelodeon kid. But like, dude, everything she does in this movie is pretty fucking funny. Like it's really good.
Yeah.
Specifically, like there's the bit where she's like, let's tell each other a secret that we've never told anyone. Fine, I'll go first.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, the delivery's so good.
She is really, really funny in a way that I did. When the casting came out for Wicked, everyone rolled their eyes.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some Ariane stands that were like, I know she's going to be perfect. And we were like, okay.
Yeah.
And then she was phenomenal. Like, she was so good. Like, there's nothing to say other than she was so good.
Yeah. And Cynthia.
Also, is she okay?
Oh, yeah. I've seen all that stuff.
Somebody check on her, please. I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And then Cynthia Erivo, who you and I are both fans of from
Bad Times at
El Royale, which is such an underrated movie that's so good. Yeah. That one, dude, that she is so good in this movie.
Yes.
Like literally, what a show-stopping way to end a movie.
Yes.
Which I know that's the intermission song for but dude, just tears. Like I was crying. Like
I didn't cry, but it did give me fucking chills. Absolute chills.
Like I've been listening to Defying Gravity on repeat.
Yeah.
Like it's so fucking good.
I've had the song stuck in my head for days since watching it. The like surprise for me was this is part 1 of a 2-part, and I was like, man, y'all are really gonna split this in half? We're doing it again?
Yeah.
No. Nope, it was perfect.
Yeah.
It literally told a complete story and was great. Like I couldn't believe the fact that it was almost 3 hours long.
Yeah.
They must have added a bunch of stuff and also told half of the story, and it was great.
Yep.
Like it ends on such a fucking on the perfect note, both figuratively and literally. Rules.
Breck pointed this out, but Wicked and the Batman have the same ending. Where it's a shot of our protagonist zooming off and a close up on their faces. They're just like, it's the same fucking ending. It's so fucking funny.
That's really funny.
Anyway, it's not a complaint. That is just a very hilarious like observation about those two films.
Yeah.
But dude, that sequence is just
Also, Wicked is just Megamind. I saw a TikTok. I couldn't. It was like,
fuck. That's funny.
It's really good, but it is just Megamind.
Just Megamind.
It's like I'm pretty sure Wicked came out before Megamind.
Yeah.
But,
well, it's just, but like the thing about it that works so well is they're not afraid to like. It's when Ariana Grande's like, "I hope you're happy," and she like steps forward, and it gives a whole fucking moment to that.
I was talking to Megan about that scene specifically. I was like, was that a choice from the like the fact that it is like the first part of the song is "I hope you're happy," very much so like the sarcastic "I hope you're happy."
Yeah.
And then the second half is like, "No, I genuinely hope you're happy." I was like, has that always been the way it is staged? Is that always the way it's directed? And yes, it is. And I was like, if it wasn't absolutely inspired,
brilliant choice.
If it was always part of the show, still great.
Yeah.
Still phenomenal.
Well, and
yeah, that works insanely well.
Another detail I love is that like when they put the cloak on her because she's cold, it's regularly lengthed.
Yeah.
And then when she's like flying, it's this crazy billowing thing. It's so good. You know what I mean? Like I talk about that with like Batman v Superman, where the cape magically changes length half the movie. It's like, who fucking cares? Yeah. It looks good. It's shit like that where it's like it's their fucking movie. Same place as the music. You know what I mean? It's like, where's this shit coming from? What's the prompt for that? Same place as the music. Music's not in this. I mean, in this movie, the music is in it, but but it's just the way that looked, where she's like up there singing, and it's just this giant.
The only other issue I had with this movie was like there was like one song I would have cut or made shorter.
Which
like,
one?
I feel like there were a few times where just I really kind of felt the length a couple of times.
I can agree with that.
It's specifically the song where she's like. It's after she has the moment with Fiyero and they drop the baby lion in the forest. And then they go back and then she's singing the song about how like she wants, has feelings for him but can't because he's him and she's her. That one, it was just like, it just felt long. I felt the length of the movie. That was like the first time where I was like kind of looking at my watch a little bit. It's just like a slower song, not the best song in the musical. You know what I mean? Like it like that is like the only other like small p problems. It just kind of feel its length a little bit. But by the end, like by the time we get to the Emerald City, I'm like fully strapped the fuck in. And having
I loved the cameos too. Like they felt
the guy that introduces them, that was Fiyero. He was Fiyero on Broadway.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Me and Megan were talking about that, and I was like, "Who was the dude who introduced them? Was that a Fiyero?" And Megan was like, "Oh, I don't know. Let me check." Yep, that was a Fiyero.
That's so cool. But I like that they show up and they're like not just a background bit where it's like it's a part of the movie. They get their own musical number. Great stuff.
And they're kind of playing the same characters.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Oh, good shit. Steven Schwartz. Did you know his cameo?
No, what was it?
Welcome to welcome to the Emerald City.
Yeah,
that was Steven Schwartz.
That's fun.
Like,
that's so fun.
That's a good fun cameo.
Yeah, like this movie is just really good.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how much I liked it.
In like, look, in my opinion, maybe not the best. It's maybe the best scene in the movie, not the best moment. Like Defying Gravity is the best moment in the movie. That's the best number in the movie. That's her up in the sky is best moment in the movie. Best scene in the movie is the party with the hat where she sits it down, where it's just they play.
Wow, they really take their fucking time with it in the best way.
They take their time, and the other thing is they leave the squeaking shoes in. You know what I mean? They let it play with this. That's the type of realism I want.
They played with silence so well.
Thank you. They play with silence, and the squeaking shoes and the ruffling of clothes is like the only sound. But it's the Ariana Grande's delivery where he's like, "I'll give her this. She doesn't care what anyone thinks." And he's like, "Of course she does."
Yeah.
But then the moment where she's crying and she's like, "Oh my God, it's so good."
God,
like
guys. Best movie? Like
it's up there for the year.
Best?
It's really genuinely one of the. It's probably in my top 10 of the year at the very least.
I can't believe how much I enjoyed this movie. How good it is.
It's wild.
Like I really was afraid that it was just all the Wicked stands being like, wicked.
I know.
Defying Gravity.
Yeah, but like no, she's just that good.
Fucking rules.
Yeah.
The other part of it was, man, I was really getting tired of hearing those songs everywhere.
Yeah.
Like popular, I had no interest in.
Yeah.
Like I did not care for, and then I saw it in context. I was like, this is the best song
You're
ever.
like, this is really great.
Yeah. Like in context, everything works so much better than like out of context. Now I am still like, I'm still out of context. I'm still like, okay, I could. There's this one freaking meme of that's my line. But slowed down to like 12%.
Yeah.
And I'm just really tired of hearing it.
Oh man, good fucking movie.
Good fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like
really, really well. I mean, we talked a little bit about Ariana Grande, but across the board, really well cast.
Yeah. Oh,
Peter Dinklage gives a great voice performance. Yeah,
he's the GOAT.
He literally in more ways than one.
Shout out to Ryan Pauly on that one. That was his review.
Oh damn it!
The great bit.
Yeah.
What's his name? The Great and Powerful Oz. What's his name?
Oh, Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum putting in a Jeff Goldblum-esque Jeff Goldblum performance, perfectly cast.
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh's great in it.
Like super fun.
Yeah.
There were a couple of times where we had what's his name from SNL? The like
nerdy dorky one, or
the like friend.
Yeah.
Where it was like there were a couple of those where I was like, okay.
Yeah. No, I get that for sure.
I'm like, okay.
But
he was hilarious. Don't get me wrong. But like there were a couple of times where I was like, all right, all right.
Yeah. But goddamn.
But God, these are like the nitpicky ass little nitpicky shits.
You're not the biggest fan of In the Heights, the movie, right?
I am not.
Yeah, which I really enjoy that movie. It's not like I'll die on this hill like that movie, but I do like that movie.
I really, really like the stage musical.
Yeah.
I really, really like In the Heights. I don't love decisions that were made for the movie.
Yeah, which is the same director, which is just fascinating.
Which the thing that I didn't like about a lot of things for In the Heights were when he went too far.
Yeah.
With some of the like visual choices where he went too far. And so that's why I'm like on the fence of like, yeah, it was definitely reserved a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But like I will take that over some of the things that I didn't like about
I have no qualms with any, but it's just interesting that this is made by the same people. You know what I mean? Which I totally get why he ended up doing Wicked.
And the staging is so different from both of them. Yeah. And yet like they're both like Wicked obviously is a fucking phenomenon in a way that like In the Heights was just like well liked.
It was well liked. It did not do well at the box office, but that was also one of the first like big movies that came post pandemic.
Yeah.
At least when theaters were like full swing. So there's a lot of movies like Suicide Squad. There's a lot of movies that I questioned the decision to release them when like I almost would have held on a little bit for a couple like In the Heights, Suicide Squad. I would have held on with these movies.
Yeah.
Because I think they could have done better without the day in, day of stupid Max bullshit.
Jesus. Yeah.
Anyway, Wicked, fucking really good. Okay, last question I have, at least unless you have one. Last question I have is, do you think they will fix the coloring issues for part 2? Or do you think they have to like stand their ground on it? And do you want them to? Because will it be weird to have one be super good looking and one to be like really gray?
I really genuinely would not surprise me if they did a re-release of this of Wicked Part 1.
Yeah.
At like the month before Wicked Part 2, where it's the Technicolor.
Yeah.
Where like you get $1 billion more.
Yeah.
Off of $40,000 worth of like, you know, maybe not $40,000, but like less than $1 million for sure worth of color correction. And then you could also get the day of like watch part 1, part 2, and in part 2 it just is the
better looking version. Yeah.
That really, really would not surprise me.
I hope you're right. I hope that happens.
I really hope
that would be fucking awesome. Because again, that's the one actual qualm I have with this movie is that it doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
But fucking good ass movie, and I'm shocked that I liked it as much as I did.
Yeah. So my B segment is weird, because I was thinking about this and I was like, okay, so obviously Wicked is a prequel to The Wizard of Oz, like one of the most famous movie musicals of all time. And this is not the first movie to do this recently. Because there's another classic movie musical that got a prequel just a year ago. A movie called fucking Wonka.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I watched Wonka last night for the first time.
Yeah.
And this is almost like a mini-sode, a surprise to you.
Yeah,
I did not prep you for this conversation. But like, it's really weird and funny to me that this is like a weird trend almost.
And Wonka
now.
was also a phenomenon.
And Wonka was also a phenomenon, but like I think to a lesser extent than clearly.
Oh, clearly, yes, than Wicked, but fucking Wonka buco bucks. That movie made so much money.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Is this a trend?
It's probably going to be a trend. I mean,
Where like now Wicked is like famous for the musical, obviously before the movie version, and there was no Wonka musical before the movie version. But like, what are your thoughts on Wonka?
I really like Wonka.
Yeah.
I went and saw that one like just by myself, kind of out of the blue. I was just like, it's the only thing out. I want to go to a movie, whatever. I'll go see Wonka. I really dug it. Like it charmed me. Look, it's the director of Paddington 1 and 2.
Yeah.
He knows how to make a charming film.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll say about it. It's charming as hell.
Yeah.
And like I really doubted Timmy being a silly boy.
Yeah.
And he is a silly boy in that movie.
Yeah. We were like 3/4 of the way through the movie and Megan was like, okay, I finally get Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like the attraction to
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, it took you seeing him as a like genuinely sweet,
As a person.
funny,
Yeah.
silly guy. Every other movie you've seen him in, he's been, the Antichrist Messiah or like
A sad boy.
or just a sad douche.
Yeah. Well, like this is the thing. I really like Wonka actually. Like, look, I haven't watched it again post the theater, so it could have been that theater experience where sometimes
No,
it just catches you in the right
Wonka
mood.
rules.
Yeah, Wonka's really good.
I will bring this up very shortly. My mom passed away recently, and I did not know this about Wonka, that there was mom stuff.
Yeah, I probably could have warned you.
Fucking
I didn't.
Paul King.
I know.
What happened to your mom? Either A, I feel you, brother.
Yeah.
Or B, she's the sweetest human being on the planet, and you just have to keep making movies about maternal figures.
Yeah.
In your life, because every single movie, I mean, every of the 3 that I've seen of his,
Yeah.
are very the maternal instincts in these movies are so strong.
Yeah.
But hot damn, what happened to your mom?
Yeah.
I need to talk to you about this so we can cry together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that first scene where they're on the boat together, instant tears,
Yeah.
just instant tears. But yeah, no, Paul King is the most delightful human being and makes the most delightful movies. And this is one of them.
Yeah.
I really didn't think I was going to like, in the same way I didn't think I was going to
I
like
was going to say,
Wicked.
for me, it was the same thing. I was like, I'll go
think
see
I was-
Wonka, whatever people say they like it.
Well, that's the funny thing is I remember people being like super like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess in my
Is-
circles, like my parents saw it and really liked it. My sister saw it and really liked it.
Yeah.
So they're like, this happens to me. One time my mom bought me a ticket to a movie because she just wanted me to see it so bad and I wasn't interested. And then my Letterboxd review is like, my mom bought me a ticket to this movie because she loved it so much. How do I tell her it's just fine? Like, wild.
Is that a movie you're willing to say on pod?
Yeah, it's the shit.
Was it the dog one?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's got
We can circle back.
It's got lady from Twisters. What's her name?
I know who you're talking about. Oh wait, is it the one with the where's her?
Louisiana or
Yes, I know the one where there's somebody dies or something or whatever.
Yes.
I know what you're talking
give me. I'm gonna find it.
about. That one that's a mom cinema movie.
That is a my
all of my mom friends were like, "Oh, it's so good."
where the crawdads sing.
Yeah.
she loved it so much, and I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "I will buy you a ticket." And then she bought me a ticket, and I went to the
It's
movies.
so good.
And it's like, it's fine. It's fine.
Did you like my I can't, my brain no worky, you guys.
Brain no work good.
Anyways, Wonka
Wonka's
rips,
really good.
and like Wicked rips. Let's take that note, Hollywood. Just make really good, and it's the sincerity.
I was gonna say, make
Both
really
of
good
these
sentimental movies.
Both of these movies are so sincere and so sentimental, and like, yeah, they're just fucking good.
Yeah.
Like
I think we've hit a little bit of this like.
that, I think is also sorry. No,
go ahead.
I
Yeah.
think also part of the reason with Wonka why some people didn't like it is the fact that the promotion made it seem like it wasn't a musical.
Yes,
Like,
which
it was
is that
really afraid to
that
show
is
that it was-
super a trend because
Yeah.
the Mean Girls movie didn't even have songs from the movie in it.
Nope.
In the trailers, I mean.
Yeah, that was like a micro trend that summer where there were like 3 musicals that came out that didn't feature any music.
And you're like, So he just lied to people, and people were like actively pissed. And look, don't get me wrong, Wicked kinda did that, where they didn't ever.
The trailers were bad.
The trailers did not show people really singing, but
no.
there was at least Cynthia Erivo singing in it.
That was the issue with the trailer. Is the only thing they had in the trailer was the battle cry.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
see, we have the rights to the wizard the Wicked sound. We have the rights to it. Please come see it.
Yeah, I mean a little, yeah.
And it was just like, okay, yeah, all right, fine. Like,
Yeah.
I had no intention on going and seeing it.
I know.
I had no intention.
And yet it worked out.
And then Megan was like, I will shoot you with a gun
Yeah.
if you don't go see this movie. And I was like, all right.
And Meg's seeing it for a third time.
Right now, as we speak, she just left the fucking house to go see it again.
Which is like,
she just left.
I'd go see it again.
I will super go see this again.
Yeah, like I really
I'm
liked this
legitimately
movie.
a little mad she's going without me. I'm just kidding. I'm not actually mad. I do super want to go see it.
Yeah, I genuinely really liked it.
I am genuinely afraid the length will feel even lengthier on a rewatch. But if that's my only issue, that's my only
Yeah, but
issue.
like you get to sit there the whole time and be like, I get to listen to Defying Gravity at the end, and there's
Megan-
like a nice.
Megan was like, I didn't feel like I had that conversation when she was like, I didn't feel that because I was so excited for you.
Yeah.
Like she was like watching it a second time through my eyes.
Yeah.
And yeah, like me and her, like in the theater, like every time something good or funny happened. Also, oh Jesus Christ, Bach, that dude sucks. The SpongeBob. Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about at all.
Oh, the Ariana Grande's new whatever. Yeah.
Not only does he suck as a human being,
Yeah.
he also the character sucks on screen.
Yeah.
And I kept have you seen the interview of him where he is making like really silly stupid
No.
faces where it's just he's so cringe as a human being. I'm not afraid to talk shit because that dude sucks. He's really cringe and he's like being interviewed and he's like not as a joke. Like that's the way his face makes when talk.
Yeah.
And so every time he was on screen, I would turn to Meg and go, and then we would both like giggle. Anyways,
Good stuff.
good stuff. Wonka rules.
Yes.
And I would really love to see Paul King. Okay.
Oh, Mufasa. Mufasa's a prequel that didn't exist, and that's another musical thing. Not that I care about it at
The
all.
Lion King.
The only thing that I care about is that the Superman trailer may premiere alongside it, and so I may be buying a ticket to something else, sneaking in for the trailers of that one, and then going to my movie. Just so I can see the Superman trailer on the big screen.
That is the most you thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I went to the movie theater today to buy the Nosferatu popcorn bucket and leave.
Shit, yeah, dude.
I didn't buy it. Breck bought it. She was like, I want this. We're going.
Fucking
Like, my bad. Okay.
Pop off, Queen.
Yeah.
Also, I saw the trailer. We're just talking now. I saw the trailer for Paddington 3 and woof, wow, I did not know Sally Hawkins was not going to be in Paddington 3.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how. Look, and this is no tea, no shade to the actress that they recast her with. I think she's genuinely delightful. But oh my God,
Yeah.
Paul King and Sally Hawkins not being involved.
No, Paul King is involved,
But he didn't direct it.
but he didn't direct it. He is like involved in. I think he may have even like wrote the story.
Okay, all right.
He's like involved in it. The reason he didn't is because he wanted to go make Wonka.
And stole Sally Hawkins in the process, but I'm okay with it.
Which is it is a bummer that like here's the thing. I've heard Paddington 3 is like it's pretty good. Which is a bummer. Because Paddington 1 and 2 are like perfect little movies.
All the whatever. Me and Megan were talking about this, like all of the reviews for it now are sitting at like 95% or something like that.
When the lowest rated in your trilogy is 95, it can't be bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but it like the euphoric heights of Paddington 1 and 2, it's a little disappointing to see Paddington 3
Be
like just from the trailer alone, I'm like, man, this does not feel like the same franchise.
Yeah.
Like, yes, so many of the same people are involved, but man, this feels different.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Anyway. Recommendations.
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So I started. Recommendation 1 is just Lord of the Rings. Just Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Trilogy. I started rewatching those recently. And then I was like, I fell down a Hobbit hole or a rabbit hole of Hobbit stuff. And I was like, man, like those movies aren't good, but they really could have been.
Yeah.
And so I looked up, like, look, there has to be fan edits, right? There are many.
Yeah.
There are many, many. And so I downloaded one and watched it today. And holy shit, The Hobbit is good, actually. like all of the things that they added that were reshoots and like additional crap just to make it 3 movies so they can make $1 billion more dollars. Lifts right out.
Yeah.
It is wild how easy it is for all of, don't get me wrong, the fan editors out there did the work.
Oh yeah. Fan edits of movies is a rabbit hole. It's crazy.
Dude, yeah. And so much of it just lifts right out.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm like, man, y'all really just added this for filler.
Yeah.
It is the most like anime filler bullshit where like, yeah, there's some good filler episodes, but then there's some shit that's...
But then there's the boat from Naruto Shippuden.
Then there's the part where fucking an elf falls in love with the hot dwarf.
Yeah.
And it's really bad and dumb. And Evangeline Lilly signed on to do this movie because she said, I will do this movie. I would love to, as long as I'm not in a love triangle. And then she came back for reshoots, and all of her stuff was love triangle bullshit.
Yeah.
Bad. That's bad. There are like literally. So I watched the fan edit, and there were like maybe 3 times where I was like, "Oh, y'all really had to work to make that one work."
Yeah.
Where it was like, there's one scene where it's like the part where Bard shoots Smaug, and it's on his son's shoulder or whatever. I can't remember the setup for that. They just cut his son out of that, and they literally like CGI'd some wood planks where his son was. I was like, hot damn. The one that I watched specifically was the M4 edit, like the Hobbit M4, whatever. The M4 edit. That was the one that I watched. And it was like surprisingly very, very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you own physical copies of The Hobbit or other movies that you'd like to look fan edits for, go buy the physical version and then also download yourself a fan edit and go watch those movies, because The Hobbit actually could have been great.
Yeah, dude.
Like when The Hobbit, when it is literally just the classic story with these amazing performances by all these great actors on in this phenomenally designed world, it's actually kind of a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
There's sections where it's like, okay, yeah, you could feel the pace being too fast
Yeah.
because of the things got cut out. But like, honestly, I'll take that over the 9 hours of bad movies.
True.
So yeah, go watch a fan edit of The Hobbit.
Go watch
that
fan edit of The Hobbit.
actually kind of ripped. It was 4.5 hours long. It's not short. I watched it in 2 sittings.
Yeah.
Because there's an intermission. There's
Oh, that's
literally
fun.
an intermission
That's fun.
at where An Unexpected Journey, the first one, where that one cuts off, it adds a little intermission, and then there's just a 2.5 hour movie after that.
Yeah. Fucking A.
Fucking A, it ripped.
Yeah.
Anyways,
My recommendations. Recommendation 1 is The Exorcist 3.
yeah,
Dude, the movie is insane.
Yeah.
In like the best way, where it's like, look, if we're gonna do a seemingly unnecessary sequel to one of the best movies, at least we fucking swung. Because it's like not even just insane in a bad way where it's like, well, I can't believe what I'm watching. It has one of the best jump scares of all time. One of the most effective jump scares of all time.
yeah.
Very rarely do you see a movie play with people in that way. It's awesome. And it's just, it looks great. The performances are all really good. It's like a fascinating mystery. A crazy movie. And I really liked it, and I've thought about it a ton.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to recommend is Arcane.
Yeah, you go to the Arcane train.
Holy shit, my dude. There are shots, and I kid you not, this is not me exaggerating, this is not hyperbole. They'll cut to something completely innocuous. Somebody's like pouring a drink in a cup, and I will gasp at how good it looks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't love like time jumps in storytelling. That is not to say they are not done well sometimes. That is not to say that it is not an effective tool. Arcane is a great defender of when and how to use them. Because every time they jump...
the House of the Dragons is not.
House of the Dragons is not. Perfect example, thank you. But Arcane is just like, dude, the animation is everything that everyone has said it was. Yeah. It's absolutely stunningly gorgeous.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But god damn it, the story's so good.
I can't believe that. Like that is.
I
can't
know.
Believe that.
I know. Trust me. I was you a week ago.
Yeah. I heard you talking about it with Breck like yesterday or the day before. Just be like, yeah, this fucking scene in Arcane just absolutely shred. I was like,
yeah.
All right, he's on.
There's a scene in Arcane where a character, it's in season 2, and they just go, it's something I could fix. And there's this look on their face.
I heard you talking about
where you're like, this is one of the saddest things I've ever seen in media. Like, it is unbelievably good. The action is unreal, but like genuinely the like character work specifically, even more than the plot. Like the plot is big fantasy, crazy gobbledygook at times, but like in a way that I'm really into the world building of. But the characters, dude. Oh, I love Arcane. I'm so sad it's only 2 seasons, but I'm also so glad they're not like milking it. Like they're going to do spinoffs, but at least it's a spinoff about totally different people.
I can't believe that. That's fascinating that they wouldn't push it further.
Well, the thing is, I think the creators so deeply and genuinely care about it.
Good.
And it's got like actual actors behind it. You know what I mean? Like Haley Steinfeld, who I love Haley Steinfeld. I think she's a great actor. I think she may be a better voice actor than she is an actual actor.
I mean, she was like, did she start off as a singer? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yes, she's sort of, and that's not no tea, no shade. I really like Haley Steinfeld so much, but like
that's in no way is that a dig.
Oh, I just mean I don't mean to be like she might be better at just voice acting. That's not like I'm not trying to dig, but
no.
Between Spider-Gwen and Vi and
she's
this,
great at a thing that other actors are very bad at.
Yes, and dude, Ella Purnell is also so fucking
I did
good.
not know she was in there.
She's the other half of the characters. I just love this show. Yeah. Like, not to like overblow it again. It's like it's fantasy. It's got a lot of that kind of like shit. And there's some story stuff that doesn't quite work. But man, I'm so invested in the characters.
Yeah.
Like even the side characters where they'll like cut to stuff that feels like a B plot is so fascinating and cool. Mm-hmm. I love Arcane.
Literally, the only thing that has kept me from watching that show is the fact that League of Legends sucks, and so does Riot Studios or Games or whatever. Like those entities suck.
Yeah,
and I'm like, but hey, if the show's made by different people, and
I don't know if it's made by different people, but I know that the creative team. I mean, they took like 5 or 6 years in between seasons.
All right, well,
just to fucking do it, just because they were like, we can't. They were super adamant about AI being kept as far away from it as possible.
Love that.
So it's just a show that I have fallen deeply in love with, and I just really fucking like.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, that's my recommendation. Anything else? Any other?
A few movies that my mom loved. Sleepless in Seattle. You've Got Mail. Movies that I loved watching with my mother were Runaway Bride. These are all episodes we've done. And also My Best Friend's Wedding. That's also a classic. She also loved the movie Hope Floats. I have not watched that since I don't even know if I've fully watched it. But yeah, those are some movies that my mom loved. Go watch those movies.
You should absolutely watch those movies.
Yeah.
Well, that's the podcast.
Yeah.
We've done it. You've been given a pile of things to watch.
Yeah.
Go support movies in theaters.
Go rewatch all of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and then watch the fan edit.
And then watch Arcane after that just to spice it up.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to do that, live your life.